Welcome in to the PFF NFL podcast. Sam Monson here. Steve Palazzolo over here. That's you first. I pointed to you. Sam's over there. Steve's over here. We're back. Another pod. Hello, YouTube friends. Thanks for checking us out. Our YouTube views go up every week. Everybody love it. Loving watching us, I think.
Why wouldn't they?
We get the cool little background here, too.
Yeah.
You guys should check it out if you guys aren't watching the YouTube channel. And if you're only watching the YouTube channel, be sure to go download us and listen to, on the way to work, while you're at the gym, whatever it is. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's week 5 time, Sam. No, week 6. Shoot.
Yeah.
Week 6. We're looking forward. We're going to hit every game one by one. Let's discuss Thursday Night Football first. Is it my turn to pick? How are we doing?
Yes. So
explain what we've been doing.
What we've been doing, typically most people are getting this podcast on Friday or at least Friday after the Thursday night game has happened. But we're recording it on Thursday before the game has happened. So what we are doing is predicting the future from the past.
Yes, exactly.
So you nailed it. Your prediction was absolutely perfect. Last week, mine was pretty close as well. Now it's back to being your turn to predict the future from the past.
Okay, so we've got Eagles at the Giants,
yes.
Thursday Night Football. You guys have already seen the game, but I'm going to tell you what I think happened.
What happened?
From the past or something. Brandon Graham. You and I had a friendly wager on Brandon Graham last year. I think I said he's going to have 10 sacks this year. Duplicating last year's sack total. This year he only has 1, so I'm behind in my sacks. So I'm doubling down here.
Or does he?
He only has 1 per PFF numbers.
As of Thursday.
Oh, right. True. But now he has 4 sacks.
Aha.
Okay, because he just ate Chad Wheeler alive when he met up with him. He ate the guards alive when he rushed from the interior. Brandon Graham has 3 sacks. Eagles win against the Giants. Brandon Graham is the star of Thursday Night Football, just like he was in the Super Bowl.
Dude, we're going to look like geniuses if this comes off.
I know, right?
Again.
Then we quit.
Yeah.
Then we're done. So that's your Thursday Night Football prediction. On the rest of the show, we're going to get into the biggest matchup of the week, of course, Chiefs and Patriots. We've got a great Steelers-Bengals preview. We've got the Dalton Coaster of the week, the biggest mismatch of the week, the best marquee matchups of the week. It's all here on our Week 6 preview. So let's get into the fun, starting with the marquee matchup of the week, Sam. It has to be. It's the Chiefs and the Patriots. It's really the whole game that's a great matchup, but more specifically, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs offense going up against Bill Belichick and that Patriots defense.
Yeah, and we've been talking all the season about how every Chiefs game is basically just going to look like an Arena League game where it's all points, there's no defense, and if anything, it's getting worse. It's getting more in that direction because the Chiefs keep losing any defensive player they had of any kind of consequence. So Justin Houston is now down, their primary edge rusher. Amani Watts, their safety, who was playing really well, is down, meaning you're left with what? D. Ford, Chris Jones, and a bunch of guys nobody's heard of in the secondary because Eric Berry is still day-to-day for the 7th week in a row.
Many, many days, 100 days of day-to-day.
Right.
For Eric.
So, I mean, the boss, Chris Collinsworth, wandered into the office. This entire day, by the way, has been people informing Zach Robinson of other Chiefs players that aren't playing since he picked the Chiefs.
He did, yeah.
But Chris walks in, he starts talking about this game, and he's saying, I don't know how the Chiefs stop the Patriots. Like, are they going to stop them at any point in this game? Or is it going to be, like, the only way they're going to stop that team driving is going to be a turnover? And that's really what it comes down to. I think the Chiefs offense, we've talked about all season, it does look dominant. It's capable of scoring at any time. Even against top-level defenses, they've been able to put up points, even albeit not monster points like they did to other teams. But I think they'll score against the Patriots. But the question is, can their defense even stop the Patriots at any point with this Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, Rob Gronkowski, all the weapons they now have? Like, it's Arena League again. It's going to come down to possession.
So that's the thing. As bad as the Chiefs' defense is, it's funny because they had the worst coverage grade in our grades. Now they're number 7 after playing Blake Bortles in the rain last week.
Yeah, that'll happen.
That improved them a little bit. But New England's offense we saw last week, even though it was against a depleted Colts team, they're where they should be, right? With Julian Edelman, with Josh Gordon, with all those guys and the ability to move them around. That first drive that Brady had against the Colts, spreading the ball around, it's a screen here and it's a vertical pass there, and it's just doing everything through the pass game. They look like they're going to be tough to stop now. So I'll come back to this Mahomes versus the Patriots defense matchup. Mahomes has been incredible. He's our number 4 graded quarterback right now. The number I pulled out that I thought was fun was his grade outside the pocket, 93.
That's pretty
outside the pocket. He has over 100 yards more than any other quarterback outside the pocket this year.
That's what we said before, is that's what he did at Texas Tech. Like that, I think, is the thing he's best at of anything. And so that's why he now draws these comparisons from me to Aaron Rodgers, because I don't know what the game plan is. Typically, the game plan is to get quarterbacks off their spot, to move them, to force them into uncomfortable situations. But if anything, he's better doing that than he is in the pocket. But he was doing really well in the pocket. So what do you do?
So I think the Patriots are going to treat him the way they've treated Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson in the past, which is to not let him out of the pocket, to really, because the Patriots do this a lot when they rush the passer anyway. They're not the team that gets up, flies up the field, and just tries to get to the quarterback. They try to compress the pocket, keep contained and all that stuff. I think they're going to be extra focused on keeping contained, making Mahomes beat them from the pocket, where he actually has the number 15 PFF grade from the pocket. Now that a lot of that was last week. He had his first 2 bad interceptions, and his numbers from the pocket aren't bad because of the screen game and a lot of the short stuff that Kansas City can generate. But I think if in a game where you want to pick your poison, I think they do try to compress the pocket, keep him in there, and just make him make throw after throw after throw, and pick them apart. And he'll still make special throws. He'll still do his thing. He did it last week against Jacksonville, and that was the worst game we've seen him play this year, and he still had 4 or 5 big-time throws.
Did you see that Blake Bortles throw in the Kansas City game that was like a knuckleball?
Yeah, I think we've discussed this.
I don't know an awful
6
lot
different places
about baseball pitches, but that one spun in a spiral towards his. And I don't mean like the good spiral with like the ball is spiraling. I mean the whole thing, like the path of the ball was a spiral.
It was a straight knuckleball. It certainly was.
That doesn't seem good. Yeah. Bad, you might say.
It was bad. It was definitely bad.
Yeah.
So everyone is taking New England except for Neil taking Kansas City and Zach taking Kansas City.
But Zach has now since regretted that pick.
Yes, because he keeps hearing about the guys that are down.
Yeah.
Over-under in this game is 59. I would suggest go check out PFF Green Line.
Yes.
Because
they've got a strong take on that over-under.
They have strong opinions on that. So if you have PFF Elite, go check out the Green Line picks on the Patriots-Chiefs over-under. One other thing of note, we keep talking about D Ford on the show pretty much every week. Credit.
Still playing well.
Leading the league in pressures.
Yeah.
Right now.
And he's more than halfway to his previous season best.
Right.
I think his previous season best is 53, 54, something like that. He's already at 30.
So he's the guy going up against Marcus Cannon.
But
most of the time at right tackle for the Patriots. That's a pretty good matchup to watch.
But now there's no Justin Houston. There's just him. Steve Ford on the edge. And the Patriots are aware of that. And they're probably going to take him out of the game.
Yeah.
Like chip blocks all day.
Yeah, guys, pay close attention on Sunday Night Football. I think there should be some really good PFF nuggets, some data-centric nuggets that are going to be thrown up on the screen on Sunday Night Football, thanks to NBC and that crew. So we're all taking the Patriots here. Should be a fun one on Sunday Night Football. That was one of the marquee matchups, Chiefs versus Patriots just as a whole. You have a very specific marquee matchup. You've been waiting all offseason for this one, I know, Sam.
Yeah, William Jackson against Antonio Brown, 3. Because they faced, twice last year.
Yeah. Steelers at the Bengals.
Yeah. Last year, William Jackson last season had one of the most incredible statistical seasons we've seen from any cornerback ever. This season hasn't been so pretty, but last week he was very good against, admittedly, Ryan Tannehill. It's going to help. But still, very good last week. And more importantly, one of the most impressive statistical feats of his season last year was how he did one-on-one against Antonio Brown. Because nobody can bottle up Antonio Brown one-on-one. It's basically impossible. He's too good. He's amazing one-on-one. It's insane. But William Jackson one-on-one with him. 7 targets, no catches, 4 pass breakups. That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
That's completely absurd. And I was across 2 games, and they weren't just lucky incompletions. They were plays where he was in tight coverage, 4 pass breakups. That was fantastic play. This is the first time they're going up against each other one-on-one again. Let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, and then I tweeted out the stat earlier this week that Antonio Brown has 21 off-target throws his way this year, 8 or 9 more than the next closest guy. So it's been a weird year for the Steelers. So definitely want to see that matchup. I really want to watch Big Ben. We got to figure out, does he bounce back? Again, the output has been okay. A lot of yards. The stats aren't bad. He's missing more throws than he ever has, and he's making more bad decisions than he ever has.
Third highest percentage of negatively graded throws, and those
Right.
are typically just routine misses, underthrows, overthrows, all that kind of stuff. The two guys ahead of him are both relatively struggling rookies. So Sam Darnold, who struggled for games, and Josh Allen, who struggled for all the time.
Now we're all taking Cincinnati except for Neil taking Pittsburgh. I don't feel great about it.
No, I was surprised there's only one guy picking Pittsburgh in this game.
I honestly just my take on both teams, where I just think the home team's gonna. I think they're gonna split this year. I think the home team's gonna win, and it will. I don't think the Bengals are really gonna be are really a 5-1 team. So that's where I think I have some doubt that they're gonna get to 5-1.
The whole AFC North any team could beat any other team in the AFC North right now.
It's true. There's a lot of, I think, parity in that division. So we'll see. The Steelers have a lot of turning of the corner to do. I got this other nugget from Zach as well. Watching the Steelers last week against the Falcons, they stopped doing. They've been trying to get back to this. They've been trying to get to more of a man coverage type of scheme over the last couple of years. They've dabbled in it, and every time they've dabbled in it, it's been bad. They're trying to do what other more advanced defenses are doing, to be honest. And last week he said they got back to more of their zone drop, spot drop system, which the Patriots and some really good teams still pick apart, but it keeps them in games against other teams. They got back to that last week. So we'll see if that's what they do against Andy Dalton and the Bengals, who Dalton's throwing the ball pretty well so far this year.
Speaking of Dalton,
the
Dalton coaster.
That's our intro to it.
We've got to have a better intro than that. That's
we're going to record you singing Dalton Coaster, and that's it.
No, we've got to have a better. No.
Do it again. One more time.
No, we're not doing that. No. We're going to have some proper music. Can't have that.
Okay. Dalton Coaster music. Who you got?
All right.
Is it you first?
Yeah, well, sure. It's got to be DJ Fluker, right? Guard from the Seattle Seahawks. They did a pretty absurd job against the Rams. Like, that was that even one of our biggest mismatches of the week last season? If it wasn't, it could have been. Or last week,
yeah.
If it wasn't, it could easily have been.
I think it was.
We were expecting the Rams to tear that offensive line to ribbons. They didn't do it. Now, admittedly, there was a lot of runs, there was a lot of rollouts, a lot of moving Russell Wilson the hell away from the offensive line.
Right.
But even so, one total pressure as a unit, no pressures at all from Fluker against Donald or Sue. Run blocked really well, was getting up onto the second level, onto those linebackers, taking them out of the game. That's probably the best game DJ Fluker's ever played in the NFL. That's not happening 2 weeks in a row.
Not expecting it?
No.
Against the Raiders? Maurice Hurst, maybe. Maurice Hurst.
I'm just saying it wouldn't matter if he was going up against you and me. He wouldn't be doing that 2 weeks in a row.
True. I will say all the caveats that you brought out about rolling the pocket and everything. Russell Wilson didn't have a ton of dropbacks. So many of them were off of play action.
Yep.
I mean, he didn't even scramble. He didn't even have a rushing attempt. It was just that was like bizarro Seahawks as far as style went, and they still, almost came away with the victory against the Rams. One number to keep an eye on: Russell Wilson with play action this year, 12 yards per attempt, and a passer rating of 150. Is this right? 151.6. Yes, 151.6. Okay, so we're talking about the biggest drop-offs from play action to non-play action. 12 yards per attempt, 151.6 passer rating. That's second in the NFL. With no play action, his yards per attempt almost cut in half, 6.4, and his passer rating drops, 70 points, 82.5.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so when we've been talking a lot about stability of metrics, the stable metric there is actually the no play action. That's like your purest drop-back pass. The best quarterbacks usually rise to the top and stay more consistent. I'm not saying Russell Wilson's not great. I'm just saying one number is going to be hard to maintain, that 151 passer rating off play action. I'm also saying, hey, run more play action, as always. Run more play action, Seahawks, because it works for everybody. It's always a good strategy.
You also have a note in this game that it's a 9 a.m. game for both teams.
Oh, yeah, I did write that note down.
Because this is a Wembley game.
Yeah,
London.
It's out in London. You're almost neck of the woods.
Almost, yeah.
It's closer.
Different country, but sure.
Ireland's closer to Wembley than it is to Cincinnati.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah.
But they're sending two West Coast teams to London to play.
It's the only fair way to do it. You can't send a West Coast and an East Coast team to face each other.
I mean,
then it's a 9 a.m. game for only one team.
You can, and they have. But two West Coast teams schlep all the way to London to play at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Their time. It's a 1 o'clock Eastern time game.
Yeah.
10 a.m. It's a 10 a.m. game for them. Sorry.
Oh, you didn't even calculate it right?
Nope. 10 a.m. for them. I believe it is. Yeah, Seahawks at the Raiders. We're all taking the Seahawks.
Wait, hang on. Is it
It's 3-hour difference.
to Eastern time?
Right.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
So we all have Seattle winning this game. So we got the Seattle O-line, who's better, but still not great, against the Raiders D-line that can't get anywhere. What's that going to look like?
Except Maurice Hurst, who's been playing well the last 2
Keep
weeks.
an eye on Maurice Hurst in this one. All right, let's fly through some other. Oh, no, I've got one other. My Dalton coaster.
Oh, yeah?
My Dalton coaster is Desmond Trufant of the Atlanta Falcons. Even though the Falcons got torched last week, he was one of our few players that graded at 90+. By the way, did you see the video that the NFL Twitter account put out?
Yeah, of our top, the 90-plus graded players at PFF last week.
Trufant was on there,
Yeah.
which is what reminded me of it.
We had the almost interception of Ben Roethlisberger. It was one of Roethlisberger's hidden turnover-worthy plays that just goes down the box score as 0 for 1, but threw it basically straight to Desmond Trufant, who actually did a really good job mirroring Antonio Brown on an end zone route. It was kind of in, what the hell was it? It was like a sort of double move in and then out deal, but Trufant read it perfectly, turns around, almost picked off the pass, didn't, therefore it didn't happen, and everybody thinks Ben Roethlisberger played great.
Well, no, because Ben threw a pick on the next play, too. So, again, that was part of our whole analysis. He threw back-to-back throws that were just as bad. In our system, they get the same, but also, pretty much the same.
Yeah, so it's two. It was twice. It was two terrible plays in a row, but he gets charged for one of them.
Exactly.
Also had another terrible forced throw, just in a double coverage, heaved it down the middle of the field straight to Falcons defenders.
Negated by penalty, I believe.
Yeah.
The underthrown
was
penalty.
Awful. Yeah.
Grinds your gears. Desmond Trufant, the last 3 weeks, 51 grade in week 3, 43 grade in week 4, and then a 90 grade last week. That is Dalton Coastery. So this week going up against the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are coming off of a bye, and the Bucks receivers. You got some Deshaun Jackson coming your way. You got some Mike Evans coming your way, some Chris Godwin. It's going to be a challenge. See what happens with Trufant. I'm not necessarily predicting him going back down. It's more recognizing the last few weeks have been coasterish.
No Fitzmagic anymore, though.
Oh, Jameis is better anyway.
I'm just saying, Jameis never did what Fitzmagic did the first few weeks of the season.
This is Jameis's time. It's Jameis time right here, Sam.
It's always Jameis.
Breakout season, part 3. We're all taking Atlanta to bounce back here. Is that right?
Except Gordon.
Except Gordon, taking Tampa Bay.
Keeping the faith.
In the Dome in Atlanta.
So that's a big part of it, right?
It is. Oh, you're using
Mr.
my
Dome guy?
You're using my Dome analysis.
Yeah, Atlanta, they're back in the Dome, so they're going to roll.
If you guys listened to the pod, you saw did I give the Matt Ryan numbers?
I'm almost certain you've given those numbers.
Let's go. Let me go.
No, not again.
Let me go find them. Kill some time.
Okay, great. After this game, we're going to be hitting on Chicago, Miami, Los Angeles, and Cleveland before we get to the biggest mismatch of this week, which won't be the Seahawks offensive line against anybody.
All right, let me read Matt Ryan's grades.
Yeah.
Straight out of PFF Premium. He's played 2 games in Pennsylvania, at Philadelphia, at Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, that's where he's played. At Philadelphia, week 1, he was a 47.5. That's not good.
No.
Last week, he was a 56 at Pittsburgh. That was not good.
No.
Sandwiched in between there, 3 games.
Game's not in
at
Pennsylvania.
Home, in a dome, in Georgia. He's only played in Georgia and Pennsylvania so far this year. Matt Ryan and the Falcons. He was a 78, an 80, and a 78. Those are all very good grades in the Dome.
You need to tweet out Matt Ryan's splits this year in Pennsylvania versus Georgia.
Okay, we'll send that tweet out.
That's one that's going to go viral.
And then our millions of listeners are going to retweet it and make it go viral. Make sure you guys go get to Twitter, find at PFF Steve, and retweet by Matt Ryan.
Make sure you check out Steve's poll on Twitter.
Matt, hey, Joe, the poll's done. It expired a couple days ago. We recorded this live on YouTube Live on Monday, and it was just the first time we actually wanted to cut something, and here we are. All right, we're going to fly through a few more games. Chicago Bears at the Miami Dolphins. What are you watching for here, Sam?
Ryan Tannehill at the moment is playing like a bad budget Ryan Tannehill impersonator that somebody found on Yelp. Like, I mean, what?
That's not in your notes, but that's good.
Is that going to stop? I mean, he's terrible at the moment. His overall PFF grade right now is, 54? That's like 20 points lower than his career baseline.
Yelp Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Yelp Ryan Tannehill is playing like crap, and it's costing the Dolphins wins.
Yeah, and now
he's going up against one of the best defenses in the league.
Some very poor decisions over the last couple weeks. Yeah, I want to see Mitch Trubisky if he's for real. They had a bye last week. 2 weeks ago, he had the best game of his career by far, threw 6 touchdowns, was as good as those crazy numbers would have indicated. And I want to see him specifically matched up against the Dolphins linebackers, guys like Jerome Baker, Raekwon McMillan, Kiko Alonso. 2 out of those 3 have below average coverage grades so far this season.
Who's the one that doesn't?
Did I miss? Who is it? No, they're all below average. Sorry. I was looking at Chase Allen, who only had 19 snaps. So
Okay.
Jerome Baker,
So
58.
they're all bad.
Raekwon McMillan, 58. Kiko Alonso, 51. Average more in that 65 to 68 range.
Yeah.
So when you've got this Bears offense that's all about misdirection and motion and all that stuff, you got linebackers running all over the place, that's going to be a big matchup to watch.
Highest number of RPOs in the league right now, the Chicago Bears.
Not surprising.
No, I mean, it's what we thought heading into the season, but that's going to stress linebackers as well.
So that's what people are watching for in that game. The Bears they're playing the Patriots the next week. So if they take care of business, that's another marquee matchup there. Everybody's taking Chicago except for Gordon, taking the Dolphins at home, expecting a bounce back from the 3-2 Dolphins. Next game, Los Angeles Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. What are you watching for here, Sam? Same thing every week.
Yeah, Baker. This is suddenly a really fascinating matchup, right?
course it
Because the
is.
Browns are actually legit now. They're not the Browns. Baker transforms this team into a pretty decent unit. They just beat Baltimore.
I still see people using passer rating.
Yeah.
I still see
that's
people
silly.
trying to say that he's playing mediocre football.
No.
I don't want to mention who.
So, Baker Mayfield has the highest drop rate in the National Football League right now.
Yep.
He has 12 drops already, which ranks like 5th, and he's only been playing for 2.5 weeks. So his receivers have been letting him down from start to finish, plus no Rashad Higgins right now. So their best receiver is down, which means you're left with this, disaster of guys like Antonio Callaway just dropping everything that heads in his direction.
Callaway will be fine. He'll
Baker
be fine.
Mayfield has been playing way better than the stats would indicate. Plus, the play calling has been hanging him out to dry with all of this run. Baker bail us out on 3rd and long. Like, that's not helping. So Mayfield's been playing significantly better than the box score stats would suggest. If nothing else, the drops catapult him into a much better position. At one point, not last game, the game before that, he started the game 0 for 3 with a pick 6, and all 3 of them hit receivers in the hands.
Yeah, that was
that's the
crazy.
kind of deal you're talking about when you're looking at what Baker Mayfield has done.
So he's playing perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Use PFF grades. Don't look at the stats. Don't listen to the talking heads. Thank you. Yeah,
Nice.
it is an intriguing game. I actually picked the Browns because this feels like one of those.
You did.
This feels like one of those games. The Chargers are traveling, and
I
the
wanted
Browns
to.
are forcing a ton of turnovers. I don't know if they can keep it up. They're being tough on quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers is playing great, but he's also like a little garbage time in there, a little tearing up the Raiders in there. I just feels like this is one of those games where the Chargers just go Charger on you.
Of course, you did think that last week as well.
Did I?
Yeah.
What did I say?
I don't know. You said exactly the same
I did
thing
not take
last
the
week.
Chargers against the Raiders last week.
No, but you said there was one of these games they were going to. Anyway.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I'm going to say it every week.
Not on the
maybe.
podcast, but you definitely said it at some point. I was close to picking the Browns in this game. I ended up going with the Chargers, but multiple people, you, Zach, Gordon, have all picked the Browns. I think every week now with the Browns is going to be an interesting watch because I think they're actually a legitimately good team. Like I said, I think the AFC North almost has complete parity right now. I think all 4 of those teams are about the same level, and they're all pretty good.
Bunch of Baker homers over here. But Denzel Ward, the other guy to note, when he lines up against Keenan Allen, the matchup to watch in this game. Denzel Ward currently number 2 among all cornerbacks in coverage grade.
His coverage numbers
83.1.
have been pretty crazy the last couple of weeks. He started off, I don't want to say rough, but he allowed some yardage in the first couple of weeks. But over the past couple, he has allowed almost nothing. Where is his numbers? Talk, Steve. Talk.
Yeah, so right now, this year, he's got 3 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, passer rating of 55.7 into his coverage, 52.7. But wait, here's a nugget. Denzel Ward and Minkah Fitzpatrick, the 2 rookie first-round corners, tied for the league lead among corners, 8 missed tackles apiece. Oof, that's a lot.
So those first 2 weeks, gave up a touchdown in each of those games, gave up at least 6 catches in each of those games, gave up at least 50 yards in each of those games. The 3 subsequent games, week 3 against the Jets allowed 2 catches for 9 yards. So that's pretty good. Week 4 against the Raiders was targeted 6 times, allowed 1 catch. Week 5 against the Ravens was targeted 14 times and gave up 5 catches and had a pick. So a passer rating of 20, 19.9 into his coverage, which is what, Steve? What's a passer rating of 20?
Worse than throwing the ball into the dirt.
There you go.
Every single
So
time.
14 targets, allowed a catch on 35.7% of those plays. So the last 3 weeks he's been on absolute fire, and making that decision to take him over Bradley Chubb looks smarter by the week.
Oh, wait. I haven't checked Bradley Chubb's sack totals either.
Okay.
Somebody needs to do that.
I mean, they're not high.
Compared to Derwin James.
Played to Derwin.
Oh, man. This is relevant. Because you got Derwin going up against the Browns, and it could have been Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb is still at 2 sacks.
And Derwin still has at least 3.
Yeah.
So
Derwin has 3 sacks, so he's ahead still.
Derwin is still the best pass rusher between him and Bradley Chubb.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Avery, by the way, also has 2 sacks.
There you go.
As does Marcus Davenport.
They're all as good as Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for our biggest mismatches of the week. Starting with you, Sam. What's your biggest mismatch of the week that you'll be looking at?
The Bills' offensive line against the Texans' defensive line. I mean, oh no.
Yeah.
That's going to go bad.
J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Against the Bills' O-line.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's passer rating, play, everything when under pressure has been horrendous.
Do you know his passer rating off?
6?
6.
Yeah.
0.7.
Okay, 6.7. It's the 0.7 that makes all the difference.
6.7.
6 would be terrible. 6.7, that's okay.
To be fair,
Mm-hmm.
he's had 5 drops
Sure.
on those under pressure
But
passes.
his grade under pressure isn't good either.
No, it's not. I don't have that directly in front of me. Let's check that out.
It's not good, though. So the Bills are going to give up an absolute ton of pressure. J.J. Watt is looking not all the way back to being J.J. Watt, but 90% of the way there, which means he's doing some damage.
Josh Allen under pressure, a 33.9 grade.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a 63.4 with no pressure.
Yeah.
But 6 for 38 with 3 interceptions under pressure.
So according to grading, at least, you make Josh Allen twice as bad by pressuring him.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is a mismatch to take a look at. Texans against the Bills. I think are we all taking Houston here, or there's some Bills believers?
No, everybody at Houston.
That's interesting because the Bills, again, are going to be that sneaky team that's going to play some defense. So I want to watch the other side of the ball with Tre'Davious White and DeAndre Hopkins when they get to match up. Even though it's not a pure man system with Buffalo, when they do match up in zone, off coverage, whatever it might be, it's still a good one. Hopkins, again, has that knack even when he's tightly covered. Give him the ball, he's going to make the catch, and he's just playing some great football right now.
Him against Byron Jones last week was a pretty fun matchup.
It was.
Tre'Davious White is a much smaller cornerback than Byron Jones, but I think, if anything, he's as physical, if not more.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of interesting to watch that happen.
He out physical Gronk last
Right,
year for an
that's what I'm
interception.
saying. Yeah.
So that'll be a good one. All of us taking Houston. The other big mismatch of the week that I'm going to highlight now, it's the Jaguars at the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys receivers, playmakers against the Jaguars back seven, specifically their DBs. Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye against whoever the Cowboys are throwing at them at receiver. There's no name. There's nobody there.
And your note here is Bortles in a dome, no rain this week.
Yes.
Now, the rain thing, right? It was raining to start the game. The rain dried up pretty quickly. And the reason you know that is because at the start of the game, everybody is barehanded. Nobody's wearing receiving gloves. And it consistently blows my mind that modern technology has not conquered rain as a concept for receiving gloves.
How are there not great receiving gloves for rain?
Right. And not only are they not great, they're terrible. They're so bad. Like catching a football.
They all just rip them. They're like, no, I can't have any gloves.
It's better to do it barehand, right? And catching a football in the rain barehand is terrible, but it's still better than doing it with receiving gloves. That's how bad football receiving gloves are in the wet. They're just they're actually slippery.
To be fair, the boss, Chris, right? He never wore gloves. Is that right?
I mean, yeah.
All the old highlights I see it. He's got the big ass elbow pads.
Yeah.
No gloves.
No, well, all the old people, like Dallas Clark didn't wear gloves.
Yeah.
But, people do now because they're better. They're sticky.
Dwight Clark?
No, Dallas Clark, right?
Oh, Dallas.
Yeah. The Colts tight end.
True. He was one of 3 guys in the league who did
making me
that
think I'm an idiot.
It's like the Donald Stevenson award.
People back in the day didn't wear receiving gloves because they probably weren't very good.
Yeah.
But now they're really good. I don't know if have you got any kind of experience, Steve, stuffing your giant monstrous hands into those SeaTac Cutters receiving gloves?
I think I've experimented with them a little bit.
'Cause those
I didn't
things-
find many that fit.
That doesn't shock me. Those things are actually like they will stick together. If you just put the two gloves together, they won't come apart again. Like those things are insane.
But if they're wet,
if you put water on them, they slip. It's like being on ice.
There should just be dry gloves, and there should be rain gloves.
And the thing is, people
make them work.
People have like experimented with them. I've seen these ones that look like tire tread. They've got like little grooves and stuff cut into them. They're as bad. If anything, they're worse.
Really?
So people universally almost have decided that when it's wet, we take off the gloves, we catch bare hand. But they had the gloves back on by at least the second quarter. In fact, I think it was only like a couple of drives into the game.
Good sleuthing there.
The gloves were back on, and yet Bortles is still out there like flinging knuckleballs into the dirt. I don't think you can blame the rain. That's what I'm saying.
This is bounce back. This is a bounce back against the Cowboys back seven. Your boy Leighton Vander Esch playing pretty well. Jalen Smith got a lot of publicity the other night for a couple of the big plays. Yeah, dude, looks good from a athleticism standpoint and all that stuff.
I did like though that the play everybody was tweeting this one play from like a sky cam behind the Dallas defense when they're backed up towards their own end zone. He chases down Deshaun Watson in the flat. You're like, okay, it was a really nice play. Having said that, it's the most Jalen Smith play ever. All he had to do was run a straight line over there.
But he did it fast.
I mean, yes, it was a great play, but come on. He literally just needed to turn to his left and run a straight line towards the sideline and then hit the quarterback at the end of it.
Back to my mismatch real quick. The Cowboys do not have any receiver with over 200 yards this season. Leading receiver Cole Beasley with 193 yards. Jeff Swaim at tight end has come out of nowhere pretty much to catch 14 for 159. But yeah, this is the big question mark. They've this year been trotting out guys like Deontay Thompson, Cole Beasley, who I mentioned, Tavon Austin, Michael Gallup against Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, and all those good safeties and linebackers.
This, I think, is a really big season-defining kind of game for Dallas. They obviously things didn't go well against Houston, and they kind of essentially choked on 4th and down with the game on the line, punted it away, lost.
Mm-hmm.
Now they get a chance to right the ship, but it's against a really good Jacksonville defense rolling into town.
Right.
And if they lose, they're suddenly in kind of a hole.
But it's at home in the Dome. They got a chance.
Yeah, where there's no rain.
No rain.
So
for
Blake
both
Bortles,
quarterbacks.
Yeah,
for
so
both
Blake
quarterbacks.
Bortles won't just be slinging knuckleballs into the dirt.
We're all taking Jacksonville except for Nathan, who's leading the picks, by the way, and Neil, both taking Dallas. Neil just has a different pick.
Oh, yeah.
Different pick for everybody so far. All right, Indianapolis Colts at the New York Jets. What are we looking for here, Sam?
The Henry Anderson revenge game. Henry Anderson should have been a star for the Indianapolis Colts. Tore his knee up. Hasn't been the same player since. But he's slowly creeping back. Not towards average, Steve. Creeping back towards good. Towards where Henry Anderson
defines Henry pretty well.
belongs.
Slowly creeping into the pocket for a pressure.
Slowly creeping back to good. So, I'm going to be watching Henry because I like a good bit of Henry Anderson.
Nice. Henry's playing pretty well. I'm going to be watching Quentin Nelson, the rookie guard, for the Colts, and then he'll get a few matchups with Leonard Williams all along that defensive front for the Jets.
The other reason this game's worth watching is that if the Colts lose, 2-3 more players in their defense, they might be phoning you up to get you on the field.
They're hurting. They're
like,
hurting.
You could get a game by the end of this. I'm just saying that's worth keeping an eye on.
We're 2 hours away.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Not from
I could be the next Marcus Hunt.
It's at the Jets.
I'm just saying from Indianapolis in general. I'm not expecting a call this week.
No, this week? Okay.
I'm just saying in the future.
That's fair.
Pretty split across the board, or only 2? No, 3 people taking Indy. I'm one of them. You are not. You're taking the Jets. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
A big disagreement. I was one of the few people to take the Jets last. I was the only person to take the Jets last week. They played a good ball game against the Denver Broncos.
That leads us nicely into the weekly captain reading.
Let's go. What's he got?
Because the Colts are playing the Jets, as we know. So, cue the music. By the way, the captain is now selling T-shirts. He's selling Got Squirrel Oil T-shirts.
He is?
He is.
I'll buy those. Absolutely.
The T-shirt kind of looks terrible, though. I would actually be much more inclined to buy a T-shirt that just had the captain's face on it. Just the the Civil War captain.
Speaking of T-shirts, great time to ask our listeners if they want a big-time #BigTimeThrow shirts. If they'll buy them.
Stop talking over the captain, reading. The music is still going on. You're ruining it.
Go ahead.
Right.
#BigTimeThrow.
Shh. Dearest Mother, I have received your care package of peppered skunk tails and dried mouse ankles. The unit reached New York only to be informed that the aircraft men want to battle in New Jersey. Frustrating. Their indecisiveness may be due to what I'm told is severe gangrene. You get it? Gangrene.
The Jets. Yeah.
Andrew.
I think a peppered skunk tail shirt might be better than the squirrel oil shirt.
It's all done in like fancy cursive writing font, and it's just like I'm not wearing that.
Oh yeah.
Would you put the captain's face on the T-shirt? I'd wear that.
You just got to use the old "Got Milk" block text.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
Is that how they did it?
I wouldn't go with the got squirrel oil thing personally. If I was running the captain's page, I would go with the Andrew neckbeard in the Civil War uniform, and I would just put that on a T-shirt. That's what I'd do.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully
but I don't have.
Maybe they'll take your advice.
I don't have 330,000 followers. What the hell do I know?
I know, seriously. I would go hashtag big time throws. Let's go. We're going to fly through the rest of the games, okay? We're going to do one matchup to watch, each of us, in each of the games, and then something that grinds your gears.
Yeah.
Coming up. I can't wait for
So
that
if your
one.
team hasn't come up yet, stick with us. We're getting there.
Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals at the Minnesota Vikings, Sam. What are we looking for?
The Vikings, will their defense roll against a bad offense and a bad offensive line in particular? The Cardinals' offensive line is terrible. Josh Rosen made some mistakes, but he's still looking decent given what they've put in front of him. The Vikings' defense looked better, not perfect against Philadelphia, but it did make some plays. It started looking like the team that we thought they would be rolling into the season. Linval Joseph scored one of the best fat guy touchdowns you're ever going to see.
He was moving.
Right? How did he not get called from behind? He ran like 60-something yards.
Because they said he was running like 19 miles an hour or something. That's, I guess, fast.
I mean, it's pretty fast, but I would have thought a small guy could get there.
Nope.
Whatever.
Linval's a great athlete.
He is.
At 325.
Also, Diggs and Thielen against Patrick Peterson.
That's the one, right? That's the matchup. Thielen and Thielen.
Diggs and Thielen?
Diggs and I just Fru Treshman,
You did,
yeah. You had the best Fru Treshman in the nation.
Yeah.
Those first-year players in college is what you were saying that
and
time.
Now you've got Diggs and Thielen.
Diggs and Thielen shirts.
I'm never calling them anything other than Diggs and Thielen now.
Christian Kirk versus Mike Hughes on the other side is one I want to see. Two rookies. Kirk had the 75-yard touchdown last week. He'll move around a little bit. Hughes has been looking pretty good for the Vikings, so I want to see that matchup. We're all taking the Vikings in this one.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Carolina Panthers at the Washington Redskins.
Will that Washington defense stop busting crazy
That's what I want to see,
coverages?
too. That's my notes, essentially. What's going on with the Redskins?
What are they doing? That defense should be good. It's got a really good defensive front. It's got some talented players in the secondary.
Yeah.
If they could all just agree what coverage they're running from one play to the next.
The Drew Brees record breaker, essentially, was everybody's playing cover 3 except Josh Norman's playing cover 2. And if you could picture this, I mean, when you have one guy playing a different coverage, there's just a massive wide open spot, and that's where Drew Brees
particularly when that one guy is supposed to be occupying a third of the field on the coverage they're supposed to be running.
So it wasn't great.
And Norman subsequently got benched in that game. I'm not saying one is connected with the other, but, do the math.
Look, I don't know the play call, but Josh Norman also
one guy was running
not.
something different than everybody else, and Josh Gordon then got benched.
Norman,
I don't know what went wrong, but if I was a betting man.
Norman also didn't know the play call is the problem.
Yeah. He also couldn't get out of his own jersey after the game. Did you see that?
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Good little viral post-game video. Can't figure out Carolina here because when our guys were putting the power rankings together, they were like, hey, we've got 4 really good teams in the NFL. Who's number 5? And I think the numbers pointed to Carolina almost by default. So I want to know week in, week out, are they really that good? They're playing some efficient football on offense. Cam is still playing like Cam. They're using McCaffrey well, and they've just got this knack for having a no-name defense that kind of gets the job done every year.
Yeah.
How did they do that?
I don't know.
So I just want to learn more about Carolina.
Just want to learn more.
That's what I want to see here.
Steve's watching that game to learn.
Just to learn more about what the Panthers are. And I just love watching how they use McCaffrey and how much they're going to use him. McCaffrey versus Adrian Peterson. Is he banged up?
Yeah, he's definitely banged up. I don't know if he's out, though.
A lot of people taking Washington in this one, expecting a bounce-back game at home, not believing in Carolina. I'm taking the Panthers, and you're taking the Skins.
I'm taking Washington because I have to write a Washington Post column every week about the Redskins, and it's way harder when they suck.
So you're now a Washington
Post columnist, yeah.
You're an actual columnist week in, week out.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to be biased.
That's going on the resume.
That's how Washington Post columnist. I'm proud of you, Sam. You do some great work.
Thank you.
Over there.
Yeah.
All right, next game, Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. It's in the 4 o'clock window, Sam. We're going to be talking about it, I think, for Sky Sports. What are you looking for here?
So Joe Flacco he's gone away from the really good start to the season. Now he's gone back to the sort of Flacco coaster. He's got 3 grades so far in the 80s, which are
Back
good,
on the road.
very good numbers. But then he's also got a 39 and a 61 against Cincinnati and Cleveland. So the Titans' defense is good.
Yeah.
Is Joe going to play bad? Is he going to play good? What the hell is he doing?
What is Joe Flacco? Year in, year out.
Is Joe Flacco.
Usually not that good on the road. I'm going to be watching the trenches. Jarrell Casey, who's our number 5 interior defensive lineman right now, 90.4 against Marshall Yanda.
Yes.
Best guard in the league. Jarrell Casey will move around the defensive front a little bit, but there should be plenty of one-on-one matchups to watch.
Great one-on-one matchup.
In that one, I'm taking Tennessee. You're taking Baltimore. Now we're starting to disagree.
Yeah.
Couple games in a row, we're starting
we
to
need
disagree.
to because you overtook me last week.
You have a
You're now
lot of
one
games
game.
to catch up.
You're 1 game up.
That's a lot of games to catch up. So this week we'll separate us again, I think. We've got a pretty split group across everybody in the PFF picks as well. A couple more games to get through. Los Angeles Rams at the Denver Broncos. What are you looking for?
Just really that simple. Rams offense versus Denver defense. Denver's defense, I think, has done as good a job as anybody slowing down Patrick Mahomes. They weren't able to slow him all the way down, but they did a pretty good job. The Rams offense, nobody's been able to stop. It's been just a steamroller, wrecking people. So how are they going to do? Are they going to be able to replicate what they did to Mahomes? Are they just going to get schemed to death and it's game over? That's what I'm looking for.
The Broncos are a weird team because I think they're still talented on defense, not nearly what they were a few years ago.
Yeah.
But because it's a different scheme, I think they really are week to week. In a given week, they get the most out of their talent schematically. Other times, they just get torched. So it is one of those games where, hey, they could do a good job like they did against Mahomes. We got to figure out what the enigma that Von Miller has become.
Yeah.
We have to figure that out. He's now our number 45 ranked edge defender. He's always a top 3 player.
Yes.
Among edge defenders.
So
in the middle of the worst 3-game stretch since his rookie season.
Yeah, but when you look at it, you can explain them away, right? One of them is going against Mitchell Schwartz, who has a history of shutting down Von Miller, dating back to when he was a Cleveland right tackle.
Yep.
One of them was this past week where the Jets just ran on them all game. He barely saw any pass attempts. When he did, they were stuff that wasn't really pass rush attempt friendly. So really, we're only talking about one game where he's just disappeared, which has happened in his career before.
Right.
The fact that 2 more have been stacked on top of that looks bad when you just say 3 bad games on the bounce, but you can explain 2 of them away as things you wouldn't think are unusual looking at his career history. So, but this game, like if he doesn't show up again this week, now that's a serious thing.
Rob Havenstein's pretty good.
Yeah,
tackle,
but not
though,
good
so
to the point where you'd expect Von Miller to get shut down.
Right. But Havenstein, a decent matchup over at right tackle, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. I think we're all taking the Rams. Is anybody going Denver?
Everyone Rams.
All right, and then Monday
Final
Night
game.
Football. Last game. Monday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. The Niners have...
This is Monday Night Football?
So the Niners have had a bunch of primetime games
and
lined up.
Jimmy G went, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to continue to get... They already got, kicked off a Sunday night. Flexed off a Sunday Night Football. You can't flex Monday games. So we're stuck with C.J. Beathard against Aaron Rodgers. Stuck.
Kicked ahead of the spot. Green Bay's defensive line is nasty.
Yeah.
Like, Kenny Clark's still really good. Mike Daniels is always really good. San Francisco's offensive line has got some problems, though 12-year veteran Mike McGlinchey had a fantastic game this past week.
Highest run blocking grade among tackles this year.
There you go. Their problems, though, are inside, which is where they're going to get really beat up on by those guys. That could be the kind of mismatch that wrecks that game. Like C.J. Beathard, I think, he's not terrible, right? He's vaguely okay, but if he's going to get pressure up the middle in his face all game, he's toast.
Also, you got the Mike Pettin schemes from the Rex and Rob Ryan scheme tree, where you just overload blitzes and a lot of stuff that young quarterbacks seem to struggle with at times. I want to see Aaron Rodgers and Richard Sherman on the same field again. Rodgers, every time they played Seattle back in the day, didn't really target Sherman a whole lot, which is fine. I mean, you could have success without doing that. Sherman's putting up some ridiculous pure stats this year, even though he's getting beat. He's gotten beaten a few times, and then the QBs keep missing throws, so he's only given up 1 catch all season.
If he doesn't get targeted again this week, then I'm not answering my DMs. I'm just not. I'm going to get it'll be Monday night, like midnight West Coast time, and I'm going to get a DM drop in from Richard Sherman saying, "I didn't give up anything this week. Why is where's my grade? Is my grade up at the 80s?"
Just to be fair, just to explain. Richard Sherman is just...
At that point, I'm just sending him to you.
He's inquisitive about his grade.
One word to describe it.
That's what he is.
Yes.
That's all. Like last week, he got beaten multiple times, and Rosen kept missing throws.
Yeah.
So it shows up in the grade. It doesn't show up in the stats. He's only been targeted officially, 8 times this year? I think it is.
Yeah.
A couple of them negated by penalty, but he's only given up 1 catch all season. So something to keep an eye on. Does Aaron Rodgers continue to avoid Richard Sherman?
Please, Aaron Rodgers, target Richard Sherman so that I can at
like
least
20 times. So we got some nice...
Whatever it is. Any amount, I'm
some
fine
fodder.
with, just so long as I can, answer with something.
All right. Time for what grinds Sam's gears. I see you've got something written down here. Do you have multiple things written down here? Or is
no,
that
they're all
different?
the same thing. They're just to give me, notes as I go along.
All right. What grinds your gears, Sam?
Well, beyond Richard Sherman DMing me on a weekly basis, so every time you put something out, right, there's always that one guy, right? And the one guy is generally the thing at the moment that's grinding my gears. So, for example, posted a video of George Kittle blocking a guy 15 yards off the ball. It was a run that only went for 7, but the run started on the 15-yard line. 15-yard line was the line of scrimmage. They literally collapsed in the end zone. That was how far George Kittle took Antoine Bethea. And then there's one guy who comes back. Everyone, looks at this. Amazing block, George Kittle, fantastic, blah, blah, blah. That's the general run of this thing. Then there's one guy who goes, but he got tossed at the end. Like, dude, how is that the point? So there's always that one guy, right? The Bortles knuckleball thing, right? That was basically, it did get to the receiver, but it was traveling in such a ridiculous knuckleball fashion that it was almost impossible to catch. And this one guy's going, he put it on the guy. Drop.
Punters would kill for that end-over-end rotation that makes it difficult to catch.
Or you post a picture of a fantastic block or whatever. There's the one guy going, holding. Like, there's just always one asshole every time you post anything. Everybody's going one way. Everybody can see it for what it is. And then there's one guy who comes in and goes, but.
You're calling him
the but guy.
Yeah, but guy.
The but guy is what's grinding my gears at the moment.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's gear grinding. It is.
You got one, right? Did
I have one?
You got a but guy who was colorblind.
Oh, come on. I'm not gonna call him out on this.
Steve,
that's office fodder.
Steve
only.
posted a picture of what is it? Not a heat map, a target map, right? Of what was it? Patrick Mahomes.
It's a color-coded target map.
All of Patrick Mahomes' targets when he was outside of the pocket, just on a field, and all of our things like that are done color-coded. It's green for completion,
right.
Red for interception, yellow for incompletion. This guy replied to Steve, having essentially turned up monochrome, where they're all just various gradations of black, and said, "This is what."
He said, "Yeah, but this is what colorblind
people see when you post that." So there's your but guy.
I'm not gonna.
I feel a little bit more sympathy for him than my.
I'm not going to hate on him. He makes a point, and his suggestion was maybe use symbols as well. You can use X's and O's and stuff. And look, I passed his suggestion off to the right people. However, people who are colorblind do a lot of that because they were complaining about the color rush game a couple years ago where it was Bills versus Jets. So it's something that people have to consider. The red versus green was like gray on gray, I guess.
Right.
Colorblind.
Isn't that the same problem for like traffic lights though? How do they deal with that?
I'm not touching this at all. He said, "Yeah, but" to me. I passed on his feedback, and we're going to leave it at that. Your guy that says, "Yeah, but he got tossed at the end, 15 yards down the field after the play's over," is stupid.
Yes. How many people, by the way, are colorblind? If I just pissed off like 35%?
Yeah, there's a lot, which is why I'm treading lightly. It's mostly men, if not all men, and our podcast is 99% men.
How many people have I just pissed off?
Like 10% of our audience.
10%? Okay.
At least 100,000 people.
10%.
There's millions and millions of people listening to us.
10% is probably within the margins of how many I piss off just on a regular podcast. So that's okay, I think. As long as we're not up towards 25 plus.
Oh God! Send your complaints to @PFF_Sam. Don't be afraid to unfollow him, so I can get back within 5,000 followers of the great Sam Monson.
If 10% of my followers unfollow me, you'll be right there again.
Yes. If you're colorblind, please unfollow @PFF_Sam. Make sure you're following me @PFF_Steve. And don't worry, we'll make up for it. Make up for whatever you lose with Sam. Sound good?
Sure.
That'll do it. Everybody enjoy Week 6. Of course, the only way to fully enjoy it is to go to ProFootballFocus.com, have your PFF Elite package up and ready to go because you get premium stats and you get Green Line, everything you need. You get all your fantasy fun. Our guys are loving all of our fantasy data. That's why I dominate my leagues. I'm still undefeated.
Nobody wants to hear it.
Everybody wants to hear it. Dominating. All right, guys. Week 6. Enjoy it. We'll be back Monday with the weekly recap.